The AllStar app, the #1 app in the business. UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL, and more. Get the app right now. Link in description. First thing I want to get into is the acting, man. I remember one main thing that I remember from our last conversation was that you were into the acting. Like, has that continued with since then?
So, yeah, I mess around with it still, but it's definitely been on hold, for a bit. I don't pursue it as actively as I was. I realized, hey, I have one shot at this fight thing. I'm gonna do it with my all, so I can do acting whenever. But I can't fight whenever, so I only have a limited time with which to do it. So I only do acting if like a commercial pops up, an audition here and there. That's something that I can do quick, that I can make money quick, because it's good money in this industry. So if there's an opportunity that pops up, I'll still, try my hand at it, but I won't be chasing gigs or nothing like that as actively as I was,
Yeah, you don't really see too many fighters successfully acting, and doing everything and juggling all these things. It usually, it hinders one side or the other, especially for a fighter. So I see what you're saying. You're concentrating fully on this career, and you got a big fight coming up, a title fight. But before we get into that, I wanted to get into earlier this year, Eternal MMA 64, the fight against Ryan Gray. The fight was stopped in the second round due to illegal elbows. Take us through that fight, man, and the result.
Well, that fight, that was a good contest. He wanted to make a statement with that matchup. He's a former champion. He had never lost his title. He was out for a bid. He was coming back. And we wanted to do good. We wanted to show up and perform like we know we can. So that's what we did, and we were doing good. We were doing our thing and doing everything we wanted to do in that fight, and coming to a finish. Perhaps a bad call on my part with selecting the weapon I chose to select at that moment, and the referee deemed it a illegal strike. But when you put yourself in my position in that moment, I heard the clapper 10 seconds. And in my mind, man, I've got this guy hurt. I've got a perfect opportunity right here. The referee is right on top of us. I keep striking. He's going to surely stop this fight. So I wanted to do the most damage as quickly as I could. So I chose the elbows. Unfortunately, because of the position he was in, he turned and then the elbow slipped off of his ear and then goes to the back of the head and then cuts him. And so unfortunately, that's what happened, being an illegal strike because we cut him. And prior to that, in the first round, whilst we were, going back and forth, he has me up against the cage trying to take me down. His head's right there. I'm trying to, obviously land some of those as well. And some of those may have slipped, to the side of the ear, and it might be catching him here and there. And so they gave me a warning. It's like, watch the back of the head type of stuff. So they said, look, we warned you. Unfortunately, this is what it is. You're going to get disqualified. It's out of my hands. But everybody that watched that fight, they know who won that fight. He said it so himself. It is unfortunate, the result that we got, but it's a fight game,
Yeah, learning lessons. That's what you got to take away from that, right?
That's right, yeah, exactly.
And then you come back later this year at Eternal MMA 69 in this grudge match with Alan Philpott, and I was surprised that it was a grudge match because I know you, Diego. You're pretty happy, go lucky guy, and Alan as well. You know what I mean? And then you go in there and man, you don't let the emotions get over you. You go in there, second round finish. How satisfying was that victory?
It was very satisfying. I wasn't, it wasn't anything personal, to be honest. Like the end there may make it seem like I was angry or upset, or that what he had said prior had made me, some type of way. But trust me, I was very cool, calm, and collected. It was just that I wasn't even paying attention to what he was saying prior to the fight. I didn't check, no nothing. I knew people were telling me he's talking shit here and there, but it's outside of my control. I only focus on what I can control in this game. So I got in there, and on weigh-ins, when we were facing off, he said, there's nowhere for you to run now. So then I said, well, we'll see who runs tomorrow. And so after I finished him and I got out, it's kind of then at that slight instance, the emotions got over me, and I said, who's running now, type of thing. But other than that, there was nothing else. It was just in that moment, I was like, yeah, I got you. So who's running now, type of stuff. I just wanted to get that out of my system, but I wasn't, taking it personal or anything like that. That was a good matchup. Skilled opponent, strong guy. He's been all over the place. He's fought the who's who. Still at the prime of his game. So it was very good for me to take him out the way I did. And he said it himself. It was the best he's ever been, and I got him out of there. So he congratulated me and also wished me the best for my next one coming up.
Did that victory boost your confidence to another level? Because Alan Philpott, he is a veteran of the sport, man. He has so many fights.
Yeah, you're right. It certainly does. I mean, I know I've been known for a while. I know I've got all the makings of a world champion at the highest of highest levels. I've been overseas. I've trained with the best. I've been at the sport long enough now that I've collected enough information and gathered enough experience and tried and error, with my own stuff enough to know where I stand at the top of the heap. And so I already knew, it wasn't. I've already been confident. I already know I can be a world champion at the highest level. I've got everything. So beating him was just another feather on my cap. It's like, yeah, it is what I do. That's like me to go in there and beat guys like Alan. Why? Because that's my level. I will surpass that, and when I get my shot at the UFC, I will showcase that as well.
Now that victory leads to the title fight, Eternal MMA 72. You're facing Justin Van Heerden. You fought him. You finished him in 2017. But you guys did fight for 13 minutes inside that cage. What do you remember most about that clash?
I mean, I remember it clearly because I have been revisiting it and stuff like that. It wasn't that long. The fight ended in the first round, towards the end of the first round. So it was about 5 minutes or less. You know what I'm saying? It was good. It was a good matchup, and I could tell straight away this is a strong dude. This is a guy that if you don't have your right positioning, you're not focused, and you're not in your game, he's gonna take you out. He's gonna put you down. He's gonna put you, hold you and do what he does to most other guys. So I could sense that from the beginning, and I could tell straight away what his game plan was going to be. But I was ready then. 5 years on, I'm way better than I was then, and I'm sure he is now too. 5 years is a long time. We both made a lot of progress. So I look forward to the rematch now and doing over.
After that fight, you and Justin were part of the same team at Southside, and you even courted each other throughout the years. With all of that, how crazy is it that you guys are fighting each other again?
I mean, I suppose if you watch the landscape and what happens in the sport, it's what tends to happen. It is what tends to happen. It's not uncommon. So I'm not going to sit here and say, wow, this is a unique situation for to be happening with us. Like, how come? It happens everywhere. It happens everywhere many, many times. And so I'm okay with it. It is what it is. It is like just another stage of life, when you go through something, happens here, okay, you brush it off and you go again and you just go on to the next thing. At that period in time, we fought. Then we became teammates. For that period of time, we were teammates. We helped each other. We were serving that purpose for that role for that time. Now he's moved on. Now he's doing his thing elsewhere. Now we're opponents again. He's up there. I'm up there. The title is vacant. And we're going to be facing each other just like we did 5 years ago.
Why did he leave Southside?
I actually don't know the answer to that, to be honest. All I heard was one time, Justin left. I'm not one to pry and want to know, why, and this and that. And this. I mean, listen, I'm worried about me. In this game, it's a selfish game. I've got enough of my own things to think about and worry about and try to do. So he left. I wished him well, and that was that.
All right. Justin, he's had a pretty good year this year. 3 wins, 3 finishes. What are your thoughts on his performances so far?
he's been looking good. He's been looking good. He's I think the move to freestyle is done good, and also having a baby has maybe fired him up, because it's obviously I don't have a baby, but I think from experience of having family members and brothers and uncles and things, and basically helping raise other people's children throughout my life as well as I've grown up. I can't relate to having my own, but I kind of know what the responsibility of having a child brings to a person. And if when you're single, you just don't have that kind of care. It's all about you. So the moment you have another human being to care for, now it's like you love that thing more than you do yourself. Then it becomes about that person, that human being, that person's well-being and so forth. So I think that for him has done a lot for his mental, and as far as like his grit and his hunger and want. Obviously, him as a professional and somebody as an athlete wanting to be at the top was one thing, when he was having that singular focus pursuing it for himself. But now as a family man, as a father, as a husband, as somebody who has to be somewhat of a role model for his child and also provide, etc. That also can be a very good source of motivation. So I think that has really helped him, as well as training with the guys at Freestyle. And that's been good for him. He's looked good facing some of the guys here, and yeah, that's been great. But you can only judge by the guys that he fought against and what they had done and what happened in those moments. Each individual will provide a particular set of skills and puzzles for you to sort of figure out. So you can't look at the last few performances that he's had and then go, oh, he's looked good, he's on a 3-fight win streak, and so therefore the next guy he's likely to beat again or whatever. No, it's like there's this sort of math that happens all the time when styles don't match, and it's like, oh, it's not going to be your night tonight. So though he's looked good facing some guys, some styles, some this, and he's doing this thing over there, when he comes up against me, he's going to know again that there's a different level to it.
You said that you're a completely different fighter from the first fight. How much have you transformed? Where do you feel like you've excelled so much in your skill set?
That's a good question. I have just matured a lot more as far as becoming more of a student of the game and trying to systemize the approach. And it's like, okay, what makes this thing work? Because at the end of the day, we don't play mixed martial arts, but there are still rule sets to it. There's still positions, there are still things that are considered winning and losing in particular situations in the game. So you have to try to look at it as such. So you have to understand the rules. You have to try to play by the rules at the same time. So yeah, you would love to just go in there and knock everyone out, in the first 10 seconds or whatever. But if that doesn't happen, you end up going long distance. Now, all of those factors are at play. The effective striking, the effective grappling, the aggression, the octagon control, the cage control. So you have to know many, many things in those areas. You can't just have one tool and go in there and just try to rely on that, because if that doesn't work, then now you're in trouble. So just me rounding out more and more of my skills, and becoming more mature and studying things more in depth, and really like surrounding myself with like-minded guys as well. So I'm just basically doing more of it, and just really have sharpened up my skills and have acquired a lot more tools in all areas of the game. So I feel a lot more well-rounded, and I feel like I have a way better understanding, and that's helped expand my fight IQ as well.
And also, you've fought the number one guy continuously. Like every time you fought the best guys in the division. Like I don't even know how many years now. And you're still young in your career. Like it just shows you like you said, maturity, right? You're learning on the job.
That's right, man. And you said it best. It's for as long as I've been a professional, I didn't have that many amateur fights. I had maybe like 5 amateur fights or whatever, and And I just wanted to make some money, because I was like, fuck, I'm gonna go out there and get beat and put my life on the line and all that, and I want to at least make some money, to make show for what I'm doing. Maybe I don't have the experience, but shit, we'll gather it as we go. So I turned pro fairly young as far as like experience goes, but I'm glad I did, because every fight from the beginning has been a tough one, and with each one, um, every opponent provides an opportunity for you to grow and assess and stuff, and a different challenge for you to experience. So I think me just being willing to face the very best and whoever's next to try to get to that top, and having the willingness and the humbleness to be able to go back, reassess whether that was positive or not, and just carry on. That's my own journey, and I think that's what allowed me to really just mature and keep progressing and stay at the top and just fight the best and beat the best.
How do you envision yourself winning this title?
I'm going to finish him. I'm going to hurt him. I believe over 5 rounds. It's going to be a tough match. He's hungry. Like I said, he's on a good streak. None of us are going to fucking want to, walk out of there without giving it our all. So I expect him to be super hungry and whatever, trying to implement his game early on. But with his approach, I don't believe he's going to, want to strike with me. I don't believe he's going to want to. It is mixed martial arts, so for sure he's going to throw some stuff. He's going to try to catch me with something, catch me surprised. But I believe he's going to want to grapple and wrestle with me and take me where he's had success in the past. When you watch his last few fights, and basically his whole entire career, that's what he does. That's where he excels. When he's able to take opponents down, grind them, and just implement that game, that's where he excels. So I believe he's going to continue doing the same. He'll try to catch me surprised with something, but he's going to know how much better I have gotten in that department. Throughout the time we trained together, he knew already how tough he was to take me down. He found that out in the first fight we had, then found out through the years that we trained together. So I have no doubt he's gotten better in that department as well, in fight IQ and like round out his skills as well. But I still believe he's going to try to take me down, grind me out, make it a grimy fight. But over 5 rounds, he's not going to be able to keep that up. I'm going to catch him, and I believe I can, even if he becomes a grappling fight in a wrestling match, I'll wrestle him, I'll grapple him. I believe I have a better skill set everywhere this fight goes. And if it ends up being a battle of wills, I will end up winning that as well. So I believe I'll catch him with something, whether it be him trying to come in, I'm going to hurt him, TKO him, or in the middle of the scramble, I'll reverse the position that he tries to wrestle me, and I'll submit him as well. So wherever this fight goes, I have supreme confidence that I can finish this guy.
December 2nd, Eternal MMA 72, co-main event. Featherweight title is on the line. Go in the descriptions, download the AllStar app. Diego, we've been chatting over the years. It's good to see you in this position, man. All the best in the fight.
Thanks, John. I much appreciate the words, man, and it's good to talk to you again, my friend.